Hey, all right, welcome back. Hello, I'm Dan Haggerty. And though it appears that all I do is talk, I'm actually a pretty good listener. So please tell me what's on your mind. Email me at dan@WRAL.com. Tonight, I want to talk about ShotSpotter. Now, I want to admit to you, it's kind of hard for me to say that. It's kind of like daylight saving time. So I'm inevitably going to call it SpotShotter at least once during this report. So please just bear with me. And let's start with this headline. Durham leaders advocate for gunshot detection technology, and that is what ShotSpotter is. More specifically, though, it is a private company that puts a bunch of microphones all over a community and then listens every second of every day and night. When it recognizes gunshots, this tech triangulates the general location where those shots came from and then gives the data to police and EMS so they can get there ASAP, even before people are calling 911. Now, when people hear about this technology, they typically have one of three reactions. They either think that it's a great idea that can help areas with a lot of gun violence, or they think it's a bad idea that could lead to things like over-policing, or they don't really care and they feel like it doesn't impact them. And tonight I want to talk to all three, starting with the people who like ShotSpotter. Now, after all, it does appear to be working in some communities. In Cleveland, for instance, police say it's helping to reduce gun violence, saying officers are receiving more information about gunfire incidents faster and more accurately than ever. In Denver, they just re-upped their contract for millions of dollars after a major uptick in arrests, saying in 2020, the gunshot detection system was linked to 99 arrests and the recovery of 81 guns. In Fresno, in 2018, ShotSpotter's statistics showed a nearly 30% decrease in shootings. And this was during a time when shootings were on the rise in nearly every major city across the country. Those are the basic selling points: faster response time, more arrests, a reduction in crime, and lives being saved. And based on that, right now, 123 U.S. cities are using this tech, according to the company's website. And Durham may make 124. But in my many years covering crime, and your many years watching the news cover crime, we know that there is no magic bullet to stopping bullets. There are lots of factors that impact crime rates. For instance, when Fresno highlighted ShotSpotter for reducing gun violence in 2018, it was one of only 3 major cities in the country that saw gun crimes actually go down. And Fresno saw that decrease while using this technology, which seems connected and meaningful. While almost every other major city in the U.S. saw a rise in gun crimes, and of those cities, more than 80 of them also used ShotSpotter. Now, for all the viewers out there who write me and say, we just want the facts, well, there is an example of how differently facts can be reported, and why, in this case, some people can argue that the ShotSpotter juice isn't worth the squeeze. For instance, in Chicago, a city absolutely brutalized by gun violence, the inspector general there found that it rarely led to evidence of gun-related crimes. Oftentimes, police were spending their nights running from shooting scene to shooting scene without doing much else or making any arrests. In 2016, Charlotte ended its contract with ShotSpotter because the city said simply it wasn't doing enough. Police said, quote, the system operated as designed. However, the return on investment was not high enough to justify renewal. Now, here in Durham, the group Durham Beyond Policing worries that this tech will lead to over-policing of black and brown neighborhoods. And when it comes to this specific topic, the ACLU raises an interesting point. You see, most gunfire never gets reported, but this tech can hear almost every gunshot that happens outside. So the areas where the sensors get put in place, as they put it, could distort gunfire statistics and create a circular statistical justification for over-policing. And that's not some politically loaded opinion. A study sponsored by the DOJ, written almost 25 years ago when the tech was first developed, determined the same thing, saying if a city has a lot of unreported gunfire and suddenly it's all reported by this tech, it could have significant ramifications for future crime analysis and crime prevention activities. And so that takes me to the final group, those of you who don't really care enough either way to have an opinion on this. Maybe gun violence isn't something that you have to worry about. So let's broaden the discussion for you to privacy. Earlier this month, the Washington Post published Drones, Robots, License Plate Readers. Police grapple with community concerns as they turn to tech for their jobs. Now, law enforcement in North Carolina has used all that stuff before and more, like facial recognition and tracking cell phones. Just last week, we reported Fayetteville police are using a web of security cameras to catch suspects in a biker gang shooting. The very first sentence of the story says Fayetteville police have installed a web of security cameras across the town they say is providing vital information that's leading to the arrest of criminals. Now, for years now, police in North Carolina have been partnering with Ring to get access to your personal surveillance cameras. They can get that footage directly from the company with your permission or with a warrant if you say no. So you know that they're watching. And with ShotSpotter or ShotSpotter, they'll be listening. And not only to gunshots. In 2007, in the case People versus Johnson, it picked up a conversation that was then used to convict a man in Oakland. And right now, in our state, on the coast in Wilmington, police have been using ShotSpotter's newest upgrade called Missions, as profiled last year in Forbes. It uses artificial intelligence to anticipate crime, creating a risk assessment of where it believes crimes are most likely to happen next. Yes, I know, that is the exact same premise of a sci-fi thriller starring Tom Cruise. I guess in this case, maybe art is imitating life in prison. It's a lot to consider. I'm hoping you consider it because Durham is. Share your thoughts. Email me at dan@WRAL.com. This is the part of the report where I stop talking. I know, finally. Dan@WRAL.com. I read every one.